And I realized. As I heard.
The meeting of the Kuli'ou'ou-Kalani Neighborhood Board will now come to order. Aloha mai kako. Welcome, everyone. By joining us, you are making a difference in our community, and we appreciate that. First, like to give a big mahalo to our emergency responders who risk their lives for us and for our loved ones. And let me allow them to come on up and give their report. So first of all, Honolulu Fire Department, please come to the mic.
Good evening, everybody, and good evening to the members of the board. Thank you for having us and letting us go first. Appreciate that. I'm Captain Alejandro Cisternas from the Wailupe Fire Station, and these are the incident statistics for the previous month. In January, we responded to 1 broken hydrant, 1 ocean rescue, 4 motor vehicle collisions, 1 auto extrication, 3 smoke sightings, 15 activated alarms, 4 structure fires, and 70 medical emergencies. For more information on these incidents, you can please visit our website at fire.honolulu.gov. For our monthly safety tip, the Honolulu Fire Department would like to remind the public that if you do have an emergency, to please just call 911 first. Do not drive to the nearest fire station because it's very possible that the crew might be out at another emergency or drilling or doing all kinds of different things. And so please just call 911 first. When you do, our operators will dispatch the nearest company, might not be this company, nearest company, immediately to you. When you do call 911, remember that the first question will always be police, ambulance, or fire. Second question will always be address of the emergency. This is the most important question because that's how we get to where you're at. And finally, the nature of the emergency. If you find yourself in a spot that you don't have good reception, like when you're hiking, you can also text your information to 911. Just write down everything important, text it to 911. We'll immediately dispatch someone to your location and we'll text you back so that you know that you've been heard. Should you have any further questions, you can email them to HFD NHB, so Honolulu Fire Department Neighborhood Board, hfdnhb@honolulu.gov. And that's it for my report. Are there any questions from the board or from the community?
Yes, please go ahead. Tim Stanton.
I'd like to sincerely thank you guys because I was one of your medical emergencies in December.
Okay.
Appreciate it. You handled me with utmost care. You didn't drop me once. Thank you.
Well, you can thank my bigger, stronger companion over there. I might have dropped you.
Any questions for our fire department officers? Janine Johnson, please go ahead.
Aloha. Does the fire department have any opinion on the Wailupe Coast Guard plan for their property?
For the this housing facility.
Of course, we're very interested because the Honolulu, our Wailupe Fire Station is right next door. But unfortunately, we are maybe the last to know any information that has to come out of what's going to happen to that facility. So sorry, we can't help you with any official statement for that.
Oh, well, we were just wondering if you supported turning that property over to the fire department to expand your facility.
That would be very useful to us, but that's several levels above where I can attest to. If there are any questions that you would like to forward to us, that we could give you a more official response. Once again, the email route for hfdnhb@honolulu.gov would definitely be able to give you more a detailed answer, more official answer than we could at the company level. So sorry, I couldn't give you more information on that.
That's fine. Mahalo.
I'd just like to note, and I'll say a little more about this later, that the public comment period regarding the use and potential concerns about the Wailupi family housing area is open until February 28th. So the public can state what their preferences are and concerns until February 28th. And I'll let you know again, remind you where the links are to send your opinions. Any other questions for the fire department? Thank you again, sir. Thank
to
you
the board.
both
Thank
for
you
all
the
you
community.
do. Next, I'd like to recognize our police department, and is this Lieutenant Nishimura?
Yes.
Hey, good to see you.
Hi, nice to
Welcome
see you.
back.
Thank you. Good evening, Lieutenant Nishimura. I'm representing HPD District 7, East Honolulu. The following are the monthly statistics for January. Motor vehicle theft, 3, burglary, 3, theft, 6, UEMV, 1, with total calls for service in the district at 5,804. Our monthly safety tip, I'd just like to cover scams. Recently in the news, you've probably seen a scam involving the DMV, and we want to assure you that that is most definitely a scam. So please do not respond or send any type of information if you receive. I've only heard it as a text so far, but that is most definitely a scam. But scams are limited only to the scammer's imagination. Some of the other more common scams that you may encounter are people claiming to be law enforcement and that you are either wanted and need to pay some sort of fine, or that you owe a fine, like the DMV scam. Other scams out there are money transfer and sweepstakes, where you are said to have won some type of award or money. And in order to claim that money, you need to send some type of deposit or some type amount of money. Those are all scams. There's also two other common scams you may see around or have heard of are car accident scams, where they claim that you damaged their car and need to pay on the spot, and also home improvement, of course. So those are all types of common scams, again, only limited to the scammer's imagination. But if you have any questions at all about any type of scam, or if you're very suspicious about any type of email or contact that you may receive, please call 911, request to speak with an officer. An officer will be dispatched to your location, and then you can go over and provide details to the officer, and they will be able to help you. With that, that's our presentation. I've also been asked to speak briefly about the January 10th incident at the Aina Haina Library. If you're not familiar with what happened, there was a gentleman, a homeless individual at the library, and they were using the library facilities. That gentleman, that individual, was found to be in violation of the library rules and was asked to leave. At that point, the person became angry, belligerent, and disorderly, and the police were dispatched and came. They tried to get him to leave. He didn't want to. So at that point, they decided to place him under arrest. He decided to fight back a little bit, and he was ultimately arrested. He actually was tased and arrested. So just speaking again, not to go into all of the details of that incident, but the individual was a known character to our patrol officers. I can't remember if it was frequent or known to be in this area or just around the East Honolulu area, but it was a known character. And as far as I know, that individual has not returned to this particular area. I'm not sure if you have any other run-ins with him to, closer into town or further out to Hawaii Kai.
Thank you very much
Thank you.
for reviewing that incident with us. There's a concern, and while we have our representatives here, including Dita, the library staff, as well as the community that uses the library, was wondering if we could reinstate a security officer at the library. We used to have one, and and that was very helpful because there are kids who are dropped off after school there. There are kupuna who use the library, and it's considered a safe place. Um, what do you what can we do to restore security person at the library?
I'm not familiar with how the contracting or funding with regards to the library,
Mhm.
but I would agree that that would be very beneficial to have a security guard present at the library during the operating hours of the library.
Okay. Mary, you're with Friends of the Library. Do you have any questions for Lieutenant Nishimura? Anything that you'd like to add to this?
Yes.
Oh, Mary, please go to the mic so we can hear you too.
Can I be heard now?
You're going to have to push it down because you're short.
Thank you. I think this incident that happened, I did not witness it, but I know that it was very, very disturbing. I don't know how many children and other patrons were present, but I know that the staff and everyone appreciated the intervention of the police. And I understand that they had to have the fire department come as well as the EMTs come. But we're very concerned. We're really hoping that we could have security restored. We've asked our legislative representatives for assistance with this. This is the beginning of the legislative session. We hope that, this can be restored. Thank you.
Thank you, Mary, and thank you, Lieutenant Nishimura.
Sorry, could I ask a quick question? Is the library considered part of the shopping center? And if so, does the shopping center have their own private security in place?
I'm not sure if it's or how the shopping center and the library would interact. I believe that the shopping center does have their own security, but I'm not sure if that, I'm assuming
You're
that,
not
yeah,
part of
it's
it.
separate from the library, yeah.
I got a question.
Yes, sir.
Was he trespass warned?
I believe he was, yes.
Okay, so for the
Yes.
library people, next time something like that happens, if somebody's trespass warned, take a picture of him, post it so that all your workers and volunteers know who he is. If he comes back on the property, arrested on site.
And in the meantime, as you're working towards obtaining a security guard, if at any time you have any concerns, please call 911, request to have an officer. It's very helpful for us if we can meet with the officer and so they can, you can explain face to face exactly what the problem is and you can point out to us, this is the person I'm talking about. Very frequently, we have anonymous phone calls to 911 and they just give a generic description of a person, maybe like a male, a local male wearing a white t-shirt and shorts. So that's very generic to us. I mean, when we get there, maybe there's only one person like that, but there could be several. So it's very helpful for us if we can meet with the individual caller and to find out exactly what the concern is so that we can address it properly.
Thank you, Lieutenant Nishimura.
Thank you. Thank you. Have a great evening.
One more question for you. Janine Johnson.
Hi,
ahead.
aloha. I keep track of the crime statistics for New Valley. I've been doing that, I don't know, for probably 2 decades. And I noticed last year, although we did have less crime, in fact, like no crime in December, which was very unusual, we had 4 rapes last year. And that just doesn't happen. Is there somebody, a sex offender on the loose, or why would we have 4 in one little valley? It doesn't seem possible.
Yeah, sometimes those types of incidents are hard to figure out or sometimes to explain. Without looking at all the details, I would be a little bit hesitant to try and speculate on the reason or causes behind it. I will say though, I can say fairly confidently that there isn't a like a serial rapist or a serial offender that was out there. We would be the first ones to know that. And that would probably be information that would be shared, you know, meeting like this or definitely in the media. But we do have our detectives who investigate these types of crimes. And so they are able to put kind of things together because certain, you know, because it's in different locations or different times, but they have all the information. They put all that together and they are able to, again, figure out if this is a serial offender or not.
Okay, well, we would appreciate any information. If there is anybody out there that we need to watch out for,
And
in
that was
fact,
in 2025.
2025, and
Yeah, I
then
can look into it further.
just this month, I was told by someone else that there was a uh, exposure. And there's a neighbor in New Valley that exposes himself quite frequently, which, I mean, you know, it's disturbing, but it's not, doesn't rise to the level of rape, which is. So I don't think it's that person, but if it is, we would need to find out so that we can tell everybody to stay away from that house.
And I would advise that when that does occur, I get to call 911, request to meet with an officer so they can thoroughly investigate and find out what's going on over there. One
Yeah.
more sex assault. It is possible that it was reported here in New Valley, but it may not have occurred here. So it might throw off the statistics a little bit, but I can look into it a little bit further and give you some more information.
Thank you.
One
Oh,
more
go
thing.
ahead.
Correct me if I'm wrong, Lieutenant, but you know, there's 4 degrees of sex assault, and a lot of times when people see sex assault, they immediately look at that as mean rape. Okay, sex assault can range from actual sexual rape all the way down to inappropriate touching. So it's really important that we not interpret immediately that like say a sex assault 4th degree, that may not be a rape. It just may be touching that's inappropriate.
I'd also
Thank
like to I'd also like to mention that the exposure has far more ramifications than people suspect, particularly for kids under 12. It can really haunt them for the rest of their life. So it's not something to be taken lightly.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Lieutenant
Have a great evening.
Nishimura. I would now like to allow Jimmy Llanos from Board of Water Supply to come up. Hi, Jimmy.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Jimmy Llanos, and I'll be representing Board of Water Supply tonight. I'm going to be starting with my main break report. There was only one main break last month that occurred on January 14th. That was an 8-inch diameter pipe at 5896 Haleola Street, and the install year of that pipe was 1966. Next, I'm going to move on to my 2 general water announcements. The first is the 2026 Poster and Poetry Contest. The Board of Water Supply has launched its 2026 Poster and Poetry Contest. The poster contest is open from grades K through 6. The poetry contest is open to grades 7 to 12. And this year's theme is Everyday Conservation. The deadline to enter is February 27th. And for more information, please go to www.boardofwatersupply.com/WCW contest. And for the second general water announcement, I'm going to be talking about the Kawaii Wednesday Instagram contest. Ready for a quick conservation challenge? Join the Board of Water Supply on Instagram at BWS Honolulu on February 11th at noon for water conservation trivia, and you may win a 35-gallon rain barrel and a BWS swag bag. More information can be found at www.boardofwatersupply.com/Kawai. So Kawai. So that concludes my report, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. Are there any questions for Jimmy? Board of Water Supply. All right, you're off the hook. No, thank you, Jimmy.
Thank you, everyone. Have a good night.
You too. A safe drive home. All right, it's time for board business, and I would just like to go. Oh, okay, it's time for board business. I would just like to go over the rules of speaking. That's so that we can give a fair amount of time to everyone. And also it's for recording what you say. So everyone wishing to speak is asked to be recognized by the chair. Don't, people who have comments, please do not address your comments directly to someone who has, who the comment is raised to. So if somebody says something that you don't like, don't just go and attack them. You have to be recognized by me first before speaking. Speakers are allowed 2 minutes. Those who are giving reports are allowed 3 minutes, and presenters are asked to keep their talks under 5 minutes. So, you know, please help us out. And also, if you haven't spoken before in this meeting, please give your name so that the person you're addressing your question to knows who you are. And so we also can record your name. So first we have vacancies, and we can't represent our community unless we have people who are from those sub-districts of our community who are willing to come on up and tell us what's going on. So right now we have vacancies in sub-district number 1, which is Lower Wailaiki. We have 2 vacancies in sub-district number 2, which is Mid Wailaiki Ridge. We have 1 vacancy in sub-district 5, which is Kainani and the Wailupi Peninsula. And also, okay, 1 in sub-district 7, Hawaii Lower Ridge and New Valley. And 1 vacancy in sub-district 8, which is Kuli'ou'ou. Do we have any candidates for any of the sub-districts that I mentioned? Okay. If we don't now, if you know somebody who is who wants to help out and isn't afraid to say what's on their mind, please have them come to the meeting and see what we do here. But we'd love to have them. Okay, next is approval of our regular meeting minutes from December 3rd. Now the minutes have been distributed. Are there any corrections to the minutes? Okay, if there are no corrections, the minutes are approved. Okay. Next, we have a resolution supporting the LGBTQ, and I will stop there, commission. And I'd first like to thank our board member, Mecca Monson-Gier, for drafting the resolution. So what the resolution supports is it says that we as a neighborhood board support proposal 239, which is a city council amendment or city charter amendment that creates a permanent LGBTQ plus commission. The resolution has been distributed and is also present on the neighborhood board Google Drive for your review. May I hear a move to consider the resolution? I believe we have a quorum tonight. Okay, thank you. May I have a second? Thank you. Is there any debate over regarding the resolution to support a permanent commission that addresses the concerns of the LGBT community? Do you have any debate regarding the resolution? Did everyone have a chance to take a look at it? Okay. And that, and by debate, I can, if you want to suggest better ways of saying something or taking out a word, substituting a word or a paragraph, that is all assisting in finalizing the resolution. Okay, no comments? Okay. Are you ready to vote on the resolution to establish a permanent commission for the LGBT community? Okay. Those in favor of the resolution, please raise your hands. Can you see everybody? Slidell? Keep your hands up. Okay, you may now lower your hands. It are those opposed, please raise your hands. I can't see. Okay, there are none opposed. The resolution to establish a permanent LGBTQ plus commission is adopted. All right. Congratulations, Mecca, and all of those who will be served by that commission. Okay, announcements. So the Wailupi family, the Coast Guard Wailupi Family Housing Facility requires major renovation. And requests from the public, comments from the public are being being taken until February 28th. This is an extension of the original deadline. There's information regarding the scoping request on the neighborhood board to Google Drive. And there are also links there on that information sheet where you can send your comments. So if you have any thoughts, please do, and you want to support the fire department being able to extend their facility, then this is a good chance to do it. The next announcement relates to the presentation on April 1st? No, I think, or is that March? Let's see, I'm going to be gone February. You're going to help me out for the March. Okay, so anyone who would like to make a presentation at our next meeting on March 4th, please contact Zoidel or Cowie. They're going to be finalizing that agenda in my absence. Thank you. Okay, this is where we ask for your voice as our public, as our community, relating to concerns on items that are not on the agenda. And I see Kahi Picaro here. So Kahi, you want to introduce yourself?
Sure. Thank you, Chair and community. My name is Kahi Picaro. I am running for House of Representatives for this district. I've been in this area for almost 8 years now. Before that, I was right on the border in Kaimuki, and then I've lived in Hawaii for pretty much most of my life. I am the founder of Sustainable Coastlines Hawaii. I'm the chair of the Clean Water and Natural Lands Commission. We help protect acres and acres upon acres in this area alone. So I have a lot of experience in community work around here. And I'm just came to introduce myself to you, be available to you. And as I've begun walking, I'm learning a lot more about the community. From me personally, like I'm here to be a conduit for you, and I want to be available. So I've got this for you all. You can grab one as you leave. Contact info's on the back, and I'd love to hear from you.
Nice to meet you.
Likewise.
Thanks for joining us tonight.
My pleasure.
Okay.
I know some of you, so hey, friends.
All right. Okay. Is there anyone from the community who has some things on their mind that they would like to have tackled? Anything that they're concerned about?
Hey,
Hello.
I am Karen Kriesel, and I'm the anthropologist that came from Cambodia because of the medical condition and got referred to Nextdoor, the website. I will say that about 50% of the responses were fraudulent. So people need to be very wary of just absolute bollocks that is sent, and then you can spend days and days talking or texting to someone who is actually using the name of a real estate agent, David Buck, who's an actual person who has an office downtown. So you think you're chatting with David Buck, but you're speaking to someone who is, may not know where he is. So as an anthropologist coming here from Cambodia and still searching for housing, it's still very painful to have to deal with this situation. I'd also like to say something about the police officer. I was at Starbucks last night at 7. And unfortunately, I mean, it saddens my heart, but there was a gentleman who obviously was homeless. He had beautiful tattoos, but he was like banging on my window, like really like, I've been in life and death situations throughout the world. So it wasn't that big of a deal for me, as I know how to de-escalate and things, but it's just, it'd be scary for the average person to have someone. He obviously was homeless, but he did have beautiful tattoos all over him. So I just would like to say that. And just be careful. People need to be careful on these housing websites. There is very little housing out there. It's painful for me to be in this position and be at risk for homelessness, being an educated woman, traveled around the world, and yet cannot find any housing here. So I just would like to say how it's just still very painful for me.
Thank you for speaking up. And good luck to you. Are there any other requests from the public to address an issue? No? Okay. We will go to officials' reports now. And first, Congressman Ed Case or his representative. No. Okay, we do not have a representative for Congressman Ed Case tonight. But even better is Dita Holyfield is representing Mayor Rick Blangiardi. Hey, Dita. Hello.
Hi, Chair. Good evening, everybody. Thank you so much for this wonderful opportunity. My name is Dita Holyfield. I'm the Director of Enterprise Services and your representative from Mayor Blangiardi. And I have some updates for everybody. And then I have some personal asides that I'll be sharing, just some tidbits about what we're doing for February with the city. Number one, the mayor's highlights from the newsletter, Kahuku District Park's proposed renovations. Celebrating Black History Month in Honolulu. Honolulu Fire Department celebrates 175 years of service. Congratulations to the men and women from the Honolulu Fire Department. Ocean Safety Department's new deputy chief. We have our very first chief, deputy chief. His name is Jim Barrows, and he is a fantastic team partner. Also, there is a new off-leash dog park opening in Makiki. And then the new UV system protects Kailua waters. You can get your own February edition of the 2026 Mayor's Newsletter found at honolulugov/mayor/newsletter. Then in terms of my report for you guys specifically, the city launches new and improved HNL 311 system. On Monday, December 1st, the city launched a new and improved HNL 311 system, and our residents can use to report issues in their communities that need to be fixed or addressed by the city. Residents can submit your requests, service via HNN 311 mobile app, which is also available on Apple or all Android devices, or by visiting the website hnn311.com. The new app system is more intuitive and easier to navigate, which means it has never been easier for residents to submit requests for the service to the city. The city can only fix the issues and solve the problems that we know about. So please take advantage and also include, if you can, a video of anything or posting on Instagram. Snap a couple pictures and photos, and we will be able to address your concerns. On the fun side of my world, as Director of Enterprise Services, I oversee the 6 municipal golf courses, all of the municipal venues, which include the Waikiki Shell, the Neil Blaisdell Center, the Concert Hall. We have Josh Groden this Saturday. If you're looking for something romantic and fun to do for Valentine's, there are some really great seats still available. We have some surprises for you guys if you want to attend the show that will include the symphony performance and 2 special surprise guests that you do not want to miss. In addition to that, for Valentine's, we have the Stylistics and the Manhattans at the Blaisdell Arena. So please join us for your next big show. It'd be our honor to serve you. Mahalo Chair and our esteemed members, a big shout out to Adam Dew and our beloved Chair Waters for all that he does for this particular neighborhood. Mahalo.
Hey, Dita, thank you for helping to turn the Anali'i streetlights back on.
You're very welcome. It's an honor, and anything that I can do to support you guys, it is truly a job of service. And thank you for all that you do, Chair.
Thank you. Do we have any questions for Dita, for Mayor Rick Blangiardi?
Yes, please. Hi, Tim Stanton here.
Oh,
Hi,
Thanks for
Tim.
your help. Hi. The last 2 weeks, I live on Pula Street, and I represent that district. And there's been several residents who know of me pop up. And Hawaiian Electric is in our area last week and this week. And if anybody's up in that area on those ridges, you'll see tons of equipment and cherry pickers. And the other side of it is folks from Hawaiian Electric keep tramping over people's property. Now they're entitled to do it, but they're supposed to knock on the door and show you their badge. So several residents were a bit perturbed and put out by that. Middle of the day, old folk like me on our own with our dreams. And suddenly there's people wandering around the back garden trying to switch off electricity. So I spoke to the foreman in charge, and eventually I did get somebody from Hawaiian Electric. But as I understand it, the rules are that somebody is supposed to knock at your front door, show you a badge, and explain why they want to go into your property. If you could pass that along to the relevant powers that be, I think that would be super. Thank you.
I appreciate your concerns, and I'm not sure, as a personal homeowner myself, I would be thrilled at not being announced. So I will take it upon ourselves to make sure I represent you well, and I will speak to HECO myself personally. And then I'll report back to you next month about what my findings are.
Thanks. Great.
Dita, we have a question from Janine Johnson.
Hi,
Go ahead,
Janine.
Janine.
Hi, Dita. My family did enjoy one of the concerts this past December where they showed Home Alone. It was wonderful. I hope you folks do more of that. But my concern is downtown. They put up all of these barriers around the whole Frank Fosse Park. You know, where that right next to the Mission Hall, and it's been boarded up with nothing happening for months. And I'm just wondering what happened.
So I know of a lot of the construction. We moved, just for safety reasons and aesthetics, we moved a lot of our Christmas pageants and programs this year across from my Blaisdell. And so It's an ongoing, it's a sequenced, it's going to be probably about 2 years that we're going to be under construction. I can get a kind of a more updated detail answers for you, and I'll kind of report what I think the design, the construction, what are the actual pieces of the property and how they're going to be working on that. So I would love to share in our upcoming report next month a little bit more deeper information that hopefully will give you a better comfort zone about where we're going and what we're looking at.
Thank you.
Thank you.
No other questions? Okay, Dita, you're going to, everyone is so pleased with your help that they're not gonna come up with anything more this time. Thank you very much for joining us tonight.
Mahalo, everybody. Look forward to next month and thank you for your service. We're so, so deeply grateful.
Thank you, Dita. It is. Yep. Okay, so we now will go to Dave Day, if Dave is here to represent Governor Josh Green.
Oh, I'm very much here. Thank you very much, Chair.
There he
You guys hear
is.
me okay? Can you guys hear me okay?
Yep.
Okay. Here at the office tonight. Sorry I couldn't be there in person or without my daughter jumping around in the background. Dave Day, Kuli'ou'ou resident, your constituent. And happy to be here. Reporting back on one of the questions from the last meeting that we had, which concerned the fish pond. The pardon me, the Paiku Lagoon and Fish Pond Bird Sanctuary, and some of the questions that we had, specifically related to the management of it. And so I have a response to that question that I'll read now. DLNR's Division of Conservation and Resource Enforcement periodically receive complaints of people and dogs in the sanctuary, as well as people fishing. These reports are responded to by DOCARE. DOCARE is the division, oh, I already said that. He's basically one of the DLNR's law enforcement arms. These reports are responded to by DOCARE officers. Officer patrols of Paiku Lagoon occur most days of the week. Moreover, DLNR's Division of Forestry and Wildlife, which is sometimes called DOFA, has existing partnerships with DLNR's Division of Aquatic Resources, community stewards, and others with interest in managing activities at Paiku. Based on the condition of the biological resources in vicinity to urban development, community collaboration, encouraging responsible actions, and defining appropriate use are the most immediately available response. And so there's actually a community collaboration that's being offered with respect to this. And the phone number is 808-587-0396. Once again, that's 808-587-0396. And that is for joining community collaboration with respect to Paiku Lagoon. With that said, excuse me, I'm having trouble with my with that being said, happy to answer any questions. We've got a lot of bills going through the legislature at this time. I believe there's over 5,000 that are alive at the moment. So there's lots going on at the legislative level as well. Otherwise, I am happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Who's that? Okay, Dave, we have a question from Janine. Janine Johnson, go ahead.
Hi, Dave. I know you're working really hard in the Attorney General's office to combat a lot of the things that are going on with the administration, especially concerning ICE. I did want to just suggest that maybe we follow Illinois. They had passed the Bivens Act that requires people to be 1,000 feet from courthouse buildings. So the immigration officials can't go in and, you know, especially like hospitals too. I work at Queens, and it's a safe space for people. And, I shouldn't be able to come in and, harass people in a safe space. I mean, like a church or something like that too. But also it allows for residents to sue ICE officers if they do something wrong. And I think that's very important. I think we've seen that we need to be able to have some sort of recourse when they don't do their job and they kill people.
Yes, thank you very much for that. There's multiple bills in both the Senate and the House that do similar or that do exactly what you're speaking about. Some of them are in different bills. So there's kind of two aspects of that. One is what we would call a sensitive location bill, and that would be one that would prohibit basic or place limitations on the ability of state workers or other people to voluntarily assist immigration enforcement activities with respect to places like hospitals and libraries and other locations which are deemed to be sensitive. The other thing that you mentioned is related to what's known as the Bivens principle in federal courts, which is the only way that sort of federal constitutional principles can be enforced against federal officials in sort of a damages way. There's an analogous provision known as Section 1983, which applies to state and local officials who violate federal law. And so those acts we call them sometimes reverse 1983. And so there are also, both bills are currently in both the House and the Senate, and as of this moment are all alive. I will note to the governor your support for both pieces of legislation.
Thank you, Dave. Are there any other questions for Dave? All right, Dave, it's up to you to hold the line against ICE.
I
Keep Hawaii,
it.
Hawaii.
Appreciate it, guys. Thank you very much. Have a good evening.
Thank you. Okay, we now have the pleasure of City Council Chair Tommy Waters and his representative Adam Dew. We have the pleasure of having them join us at our meeting tonight, and welcome both of you.
Aloha, Chair, members of the board, and those in the public. Nice to see you all. Happy New Year. Couple things to report. As you may know, the Pico Ridge conservation transaction closed late last year. Just wanted to send a shout out to all of those who worked really hard to get this done. This has been a goal of mine since initially getting elected. And I'm so happy that it finally got done, which gives us the opportunity now, or at least the Department of Housing and Land Management, to turn our attention to the Pu'uhonua o Wailupe efforts to close. I did hear that the Department of Housing and Land Management wants to find a suitable nonprofit that would take stewardship over that. I personally believe that the community group that has come together is adequate, but in an abundance of caution, I spoke to board members of OHA to see if they're willing to be the stewards of this very important piece of land that I think deserves to be protected in perpetuity. Since it took so long for Pico Ridge to get done, I introduced Bill 12, which would give the Department of Management more structure in how they deal with these gifts. Kahi is the chair of the Clean Water and Natural Lands Commission, and I think the commission is doing a fantastic job. But what this bill does, it just brings more structure to what the Department of Land Management does. Because oftentimes, and like the case of the Pico Ridge, the city council approved this and the commission approved this years ago, and it took years for the department to actually get it done. So, as introduced, I think we could amend it. One of the things that they keep telling me is what holds it up is they have to do their due diligence. Well, one of the things I want to amend in the bill that I introduced is saying, okay, you got 6 months to do your due diligence. That should be adequate time to figure out, and due diligence really means, what is this piece of property currently valued at, right? And is it something that the city wants to take on? That shouldn't last longer than 6 months. So I'll keep you folks informed on the progress of this bill. Update on Lave Street, 668 Lave Street was there. That gentleman started his own house on fire, which caught the neighbor's house on fire. The gentleman's still living there. It's terrible. I drove by there and the guy boarded up the streets so that people can't get in there. We sent HPD down there, the fire department, DPP, Department of Community Services, Department of Emergency Services, and the VA to go down there and try to get this guy some help. The last resort was, we got the wife actually pulled a permit or applied for a demolition permit. And they're waiting at DPP, and many of you know that DPP sometimes takes a long time to get building permits or even a demolition permit. So I met personally with the director of the Department of Planning and Permitting and asked her, please expedite this permit. So she did. So there is an emergency demolition permit that was issued, and apparently when the contractor went down there to start demolishing the structure, since the man was still on site, the contractor didn't feel comfortable going in there and demolishing. So we sent DPP down there on January 15 and inspectors to see if we can, get him out. They did issue a notice of violation, and we're hoping that he'll cooperate, leave the property so that the contractor can get in there and demolish the structure. The U.S. Coast Guard facility next to the fire station, I did meet with Ed Case's new deputy chief of staff, and he asked if we are interested in assuming that property, we meaning the city. And I did mention it to the chief, fire chief, and I think it'd be a perfect opportunity for the fire station to expand there, and that would put it easy. Remember a few years back, the fire department wanted to move the fire station over by the elementary school, which nobody liked. So, I'll stay on top of that and encourage the federal government to give that over to the city. I did write a letter to Gene Albano, Director of Department of Facility Maintenance, to ask him to go back in and clean Guadalupe Stream. Remember last year they did such a good job, and we'd like them to come back and do it again. Because as you know, during this heavy rains, the grass just grows. It's weeds, literally it grows like weeds because they are weeds. But so, Gene has been really, really, so I'm hoping that they can come in and do it soon. The letter is dated February 2nd. Dealing with housing, I know that comes up a lot. I introduced Bill 11 recently, which is asking the Department of Housing and Land Management to give the city council and the public for that matter, a list of all the incentives that we, meaning government on the city side, give to developers to figure out what works and what doesn't work. You think folks may be aware that the city does, in many instances, provide the land to a developer for $1 a year for 65 years. We also waive permitting fees. We also waive property taxes in a lot of situations where the property doesn't have to pay any property tax as long as they build affordable housing, as well as even cash grants. So what Bill 11 does is it's lay it all out, who's receiving these grants, and we can figure out whether they're working, right? And then whichever one seems to be working better, let's put our resources there. I also introduced another bill requiring the Department of Environmental Services to give the public a dashboard of our infrastructure that we could all look at and figure out, what sewer and water capabilities we have. One of the things that we're pushing is ADUs, attached dwelling units to houses, where you could have an in-law or, your kids or family members live there. But oftentimes the neighborhoods don't have the capability, uh, the sewer or water capability or infrastructure. But it'd be really good to know which neighborhoods do have that capability and which ones don't. Let's see. Oh, yeah, I guess that's it. I am available for questions.
Introduce you.
Chair Waters. I'm Kawi Lucas and I live in Niu. And I am speaking to the housing issue. I know in the past that you had contemplated a bill, or maybe you put it forth to about the empty homes tax. And I was pleased that it didn't go through. And I get it, but there's all these presents that we're giving the developers and all these goodies for the developers, and it's not really changing things. One of the things that I've noticed in our neighborhood and across Hawaii actually is there are so many empty homes. And there are so many homes that are under capacity. And the reason is that the protections are not there for landlords. People are just, it's not worth it to them because appreciation makes, just hanging on to it financially viable. And the amount of damage that renters can do is so significant. I know this is like a taboo subject, but we're here. I want to address it because it's so true. There must be some way that in a very local way that we can sort of take this back. How can we make it easy for homeowners to open up their homes without being subject to these really difficult rules, landlord-tenant rules?
No, good point, and thank you for bringing up the empty homes tax. Though I'm the one who introduced it, by the way. And really, there's a lot of exceptions to the law. We appreciate the fact that in instances, some people just have to leave the home empty, right? Some people have a beach house, right? They don't want to rent it out. So, okay, if you have a homeowner's exemption in your current house, you actually can have an empty house. The law wouldn't affect you. If you're a caregiver, as an example, and you have to live away from your home because you're taking care of a parent or a family member, okay, you're exempt. But really, the idea for the bill was to stop people from the continent or from a foreign land to buy property here in Hawaii because, for them, the property taxes are much lower than wherever they live, and they just leave it empty. So that's really where the bill was coming from. But I also heard from people who said the exact same thing as you did. We don't want to rent it because the renters will bust it up and it's super hard to evict them. Unfortunately, the city, the landlord tenant code is Hawaii revised statute, so our partners over at the legislature would have to amend that. but I'm certainly keeping that in mind as far as how we can actually help homeowners. But back to the whole incentive thing, you're right. We provide a lot of incentives to the developers. I just want to know whether or not they're working, because if you just look around, we have a shortage of affordable housing, right? But it'd be good to see exactly how much money we're spending on this. But yeah, what I'm hearing is a lot of the developers don't like this bill. But I think we should push it forward and figure this out. This is your taxpayer money that is being spent here. I want to know where it's going. And by the way, there's more than one department who actually facilitates these incentives. It's not just one department. So that's part of the problem. But thank you, Kawi. Appreciate your comments.
Question?
Go ahead.
Hi, Chair Waters. I'm Frank Puji. Yeah, a lot of incentives for the developers. What about something and maybe you guys already do it, but giving the homeowner who puts their property up for affordable rental, providing a tax break for them.
It's a great idea, and there's a bill moving through the city council that says that if you're actually providing a rental, that you do get a tax break. Because right now rental properties have to pay what's called residential A tax, which is significantly higher than the residential rate. This was done before I got to the city council, but one of the things I want to bring up this year during the the budget season, which is going to be March through June of this year, is if I repeal residential A, how is that going to affect the city coffers? Because my opinion is that the landlord's just passing that additional expense to the renter, right? It's just common sense. So how much money we're generating from residential A and whether or not we can find the money someplace else so that we can repeal residential A or at least lower it. But there is a bill already moving through that would give landlords who are renting a break on their tax on that second home.
Hi, Tommy. Tim Stanton here.
Hi, Tim.
I'm not sure if you realize on Pa'ula Street, there's a private property at the top end called Kuli'ou'ou-Kalani. And where we live, and it's been brought to my attention over the last 4 or 5 years, there's two problems. One is the traffic generated coming out of that private property. It's the only straight bit of road on Pula Street until you get to Kalani Highway. And I've actually invited the police and they've done speed checks. And some of the traffic's doing 50, 60 miles an hour in like 200 and 300 feet. Prior to purchasing our property, it's rather amazing. The previous owner had 2 Porsches within 4 weeks demolish her front door.
Oh my gosh.
So that's one issue. The police have gone up there and they have done speed checks. The other issue is rather pernicious, and that is the neighborhood board, the HOA in Kuli'ou'ou passed a resolution some years ago because a realtor was on that board, and she managed to push through that if you own several vehicles, you're not allowed to park on your own driveway because it makes bad business selling the property. So where do they park? All the way along the top of Pula Street. And that lessens the distance between parked cars to one car width. I've raised this issue before through other means and also through this board with various people. But that's really troubling. And we've been there for 20 years and it's been going on for about 12 years. And I mean, it's really silly to say you're waiting for an accident to happen. But the problem is, it's just silly when people have got driveways and they're not allowed to use them because it's a private HOA? Thanks.
Thanks, Tim. Let's schedule a time where Adam and I can come up and see for ourselves what you talked about. I'd love to do it. I'm working with the Wailai community to do some traffic calming measures because they have a really bad speeding problem as well. And it's just about completed, and maybe we can get the traffic engineers out to your area to see if we can solve those problems.
Just give us a
As-
call. I think you have our number. Thank you.
Yes, I do.
Thank you.
Thanks, Tim.
Who's that? Hello, we have another question for you, Steve. Or can you please introduce yourself?
Yes, hi, my name's Steve Solom.
Hi.
I've been a resident since the 1950s. I grew up in all the changes, other than being away from, so I've been my home. I'm living in our home at 5350 Kalani, which has been the family home since 1958. Anyway, what I did want to say, I'm basically retired now, but I work disabilities and with a disability. And I'm concerned about the guy that you mentioned on Lobby Lobby, because it sounds like he's someone who's at high risk for becoming another person that we see, and like a lot of people with disabilities, they don't have, and would hope that with all that it's done in a skilled and careful, that we don't end up seeing him as another person on the street and looked in this process of cleaning it up for everybody else's interest. I'm pretty close friends with a person who the couple, they live next door to burned down. At the same time, someone like him, he needs. So I just think I have all sorts of concerns about another thing not on today's agenda, but highway. Since I grew up highway many years ago, you wouldn't know that now. The noise. It was at the last meeting I attended in person. There was some concern about the noise, and I really would hope that addressed, because I've spent literally thousands of dollars since I'm putting in double painting I can to keep that noise from the. But it would be nice if there was some, it could be attenuated so it wouldn't so horrible for all the people who want to live along the highway and retain their residence here. I think that's about it for me.
Thank you, Steve. We have a question from Janine Johnson. Go ahead, Janine.
Hi, I just want to state that you were correct about developers developing property and leaving them vacant from foreign. We have one in New Valley, and I'm just looking at the picture with a big tree that it was the biggest tree in our valley, and they cut it down to build a monster home. And that was in 2017, and there's still no one living in that home. So it's very shameful that we allow people to do that, because it really should not be that we allow monster homes to be built and then nothing happened to them, just doesn't seem right.
Yeah, no, thank you for that. And what I've been doing, actually, when we've been getting these complaints, we've actually pulled the building plans ourselves and reviewed them and pointed out to DPP where they're wrong. My neighbor is actually an architect and he's been volunteering his time too to look at these plans. And I got to tell you, the Donna Puna has been actively reviewing the plans herself as well. So if you know of one coming up, like let us know and we'll get on it and see if we can stop the development before it happens.
Well, I'd like to, on behalf of the community, thank you very much, Council Chair Waters, for following up on these on issues that aren't simple and that sometimes take a very long time to find a good resolution or a resolution that makes sense. And you've been standing by with us on so many things that have been of a concern to our community, and you tried to find the right way forward. And thank you so much for listening to us and trying to find solutions.
Oh, thank you, Chair. Thank you, Chair. Appreciate that very much.
Hey, Tommy, my name's Karen Kriesel, and I believe my case manager popped you an email in regard to my situation. I came here from Cambodia. I'm an anthropologist, but I was diagnosed with a fairly rare neurological condition. So I'm here specifically to deal with doctors. But what's happened is my rent has doubled and I've been unable to find any kind of housing. In fact, I've had predatory men, because there is very little housing, they request sexual favors just to rent out a room, and it's not even for free rent. So there's that going on. The concept of affordable housing is also a fallacy. I'm on disability. And I just think that that's just not even looked at. There are decent renters out there. I don't know if it's a Hawaiian thing or something, but I grew up respecting other people's properties, housing. So for me as a renter, I'm clean, I'm quiet, I do all of the things, yard work, etc. So I just think it's a huge problem coming from all of these developing countries doing humanitarian work, doing as much good as I could in the world. Then I come here to the richest country in the world and there's no housing for me. There's a paradox in that. And it's, yeah, like I've said before, it hurts me incredibly.
You know, it's interesting. I'm on the board
Thank
of
you, Tommy.
directors for the National Association of Counties, and we're not alone in Honolulu. It's actually a nationwide problem. And we're working together to figure out what works in other jurisdictions and try to bring it home. But I hear you. And the Department of Community Services actually has a disability section that maybe can help you.
Thank you very much, Council Chair Waters, for joining us tonight, and also to Adam, who I saw briefly. I know Adam came, he's participating as well, but you guys, we think the world of you and just appreciate you so much.
Thank you. Thank you for all your hard work as well.
Okay, I'd like to now allow Council Senator Stanley Changer's representative to give the report.
Good evening, everyone. It's good to be back with you. It's been a few months. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, please give us
My
your
name
name
is,
again.
yes, hi, my name is Zephanie. I'm also a resident and I sometimes frequent these meetings. And so it's good to be back with you now that session is back in order. And a special Happy New Year to everyone. And thank you to everyone who stopped by the office during opening day, or those who have called and flagged many of the issues that were raised at this evening's discussion. I was also at Starbucks on January 10th and witnessed the incident that occurred and some of the other with my 5-year-old, and some of the other matters that were raised. So we are tracking these issues, and we appreciate our counterparts at city and county and across the spectrum for your responsiveness, and especially those first responders. So thank you all. So we've got 2 newsletters since you last met. Both the January and February are available to download at the link, so I won't prolong the meeting. Lots of good information about bill priorities this legislative session. Senator Chang has the privilege of chairing the Housing Committee, so I've taken extensive notes as well, just on the back and forth discussions that have taken place this evening. Our entire team, including the Senator, it's our all hands on deck processing testimony right now as we speak. So we appreciate those of you who are following some of the legislation, that some of it is actually some of our best ideas have come from constituents, and Senator has put them forward. To be honest with you, some of our non-housing bills that have come from folks like you are moving even further and faster this legislative session. So do avail yourselves to the resources at the Capitol, such as the public access room to find your place and your space to get engaged if you're already not plugged in. So I won't recap what's in the newsletters. You've got the link, but there are some exciting events happening in our district. World Wetlands Day just this weekend. Of course, a number of Lunar New Year celebrations, educational opportunities. We highlight some of the programs that happen right there at the library. Tax resources, support for those who need it, opportunities for students, resources to get ahead of some of the latest and greatest scams. So these newsletters are just jam-packed with information. And thank you to those who submit ideas or things for us to also share on our social media. So stay plugged in there. Our contact information is in the chat. We very much appreciate hearing from you. We appreciate the opportunity to attend these meetings and hear firsthand what your experiences are and having your participation in the process. So thanks for all that you do, and please do not hesitate to be in contact with us. We're here and happy to help.
Does anyone have questions for Senator Chang? I don't see any. Thank you very much. And so you're aware of the need for a security guard at the library. You witnessed what happened on January 10th, or was that?
I was there on that day, and I have frequented the library and witnessed some of the other incidents that I've reported. Our office manager, who manages the bulk of our constituent affairs portfolio, has been in contact with at least 1 or 2 representatives. I think someone from the Friends of the Library has been in touch with our office, and so we are actively, tracking. I think he's intending to, if he hasn't already been responsive. So all of that's in our portal, and again, we welcome folks who have additional things that they'd like to share. We do follow up on those matters as they're brought to our attention. Some of it's not within our jurisdiction, of course, but our office is typically glad to make phone calls and try to obtain information that may be useful.
Thank you for your help. Okay, if there are no questions for Senator Chang and his representative, we want to thank you very much for being with us tonight.
I'm sorry I'm not there in person. Maybe next month. I kind of go back and forth. We've got a hearing tomorrow, so we've got stacks of testimony to get through. So that's what I'm working on now. But thank you for
busy time. Yeah, well,
hard work.
Yeah, we'd love to meet you if you have a chance to come and stop in here at the library.
Will
Take
do. I
care.
haven't been in since May, so I'll be back soon.
All right. Well, keep up the good work.
You too. Take care.
Okay. Next, I'd like to introduce the representative, our representative, Mark Hashem. Mark Hashem, are you with us tonight? No. Okay.
No, hi. I'm Chair. I'm Jane Taylor,
Hi,
and
Jane.
hi, Kahi. I work in the Howie, I work in the office with Rep Hashem. This is my second year, my third year actually, working during session. And like I said, my name is Jane Taylor. I'm always available by phone at the office if you have any concerns. I lived in the district for many, many years. I've been living in downtown for quite a while now, but I'm very familiar with all of the areas. Anyway, I just wanted to say thank you for having us and hello to everyone. Rep asked me to update you on the Moana Bay Beach Park improvement project. I'm sure you've seen a lot of what is going on down there, and phase one is nearing completion. That was a lot of the seawall renovation and basically a nice beach renovation in front of the canoe halle with addition of sand, and everyone is quite happy with that. We have started working on getting the funding for phase two of that project, which is very exciting. It will include complete repaving of the parking lot. This will help accommodate additional, very large trucks that pull in there, trucks and vehicles that are towing canoes, towing boats. So along with the repaving, we be a complete restriping of the parking lot. Also, the plans include a floating dock, which is very exciting, along with 2 gangways so that people will be able to pull in, unload their boats and people and canoes without interfering with people that are trying to launch out of the boat launch, because it backs up a lot when someone's trying to unload and people are trying to get in and out. So this is a very exciting plan. We walked the space with people from DLNR and from the Canoe Club recently, putting together all the information on that. So we did submit for the funding for that project in our 2026 bill. So he wanted me to update you on that. Again, like Senator Chang's office mentioned, we're very busy with all of our 2026 bills. We have a very big hearing tomorrow. And Rep Hashem is the chair of the Committee on Water Land, which covers, huge amount of different topics: storm drain management, coastal erosion, transit or oriented development, and affordable housing. So any questions or anything you want to suggest, you can reach us at the office. I'll put the email and the phone number in the chat. We field a lot of calls from constituents in your area in regards to flooding, draining, speed problems, road improvements. So we're not afraid to get on the phone and call our friends over at City and County to get some more information for, constituents, or if we can help it on the state side, we do. So any questions, any concerns, please feel free to reach out to me. It's nice to see you all again.
Very nice to meet you, and please thank Representative Hashem for all the help that he's been to our community. And I don't know if we have any questions for you tonight, but we do know how to reach you, and thank you for responding.
Yes, thank you, Chair. Thank you, members.
Okay. I'd now like to welcome back Casey Abe from the Hawaii Department of Transportation. Casey.
Good evening, Chair Burkett and members of the Kuli'ou'ou-Kalani Iki Neighborhood Board, Casey Abe from the State DOT Highways Division. I apologize for not attending your past meetings, but unfortunately, my workload has increased significantly, which have prevented me from attending your monthly meetings. As I mentioned to Chair Burkett, I recently moved offices. I used to manage the Project Coordination and Technical Services branch, which consists of 10 people, but now I am managing the Highways Materials Testing and Research branch, which consists of approximately 40 people. Also, we have short on manpower, so I'm currently assigned to 7 neighborhood boards. I used to have 8 neighborhood boards, but I was able to find someone to take over my Aya neighborhood board number 20, which was my biggest neighborhood board. That board starts from Wanlu Gardens, cover Red Hill, Halava Interchange, Pearl Harbor area, Aloha Stadium area, and ends at Kaumanu Street in Aiea. I am in the process of trying to find another highways personnel to replace me as your highways representative. But in the interim, if the board members or public has any concerns about the state highways, they can email Chair Burkett and she can forward me your concern and I'll report back at a future meeting. I'll be keeping in touch with Chair Burkett on which month I'll be able to attend your future meetings. But on December 8th, Chair Burkett forwarded me an email from Chris Kramer, Executive Director of Mauna Loa Fishball and Heritage Center, expressing his concern about a stretch of Kalani Highway between Paiko Drive and Kuli'ou'ou Road that has some safety concerns. This slide shows the accident data for the past 10 years as requested by Chris. Unfortunately, the 2025 accident data is not available since we are still editing and compiling the data. For the Highways Division, we are concerned about the 72 accidents that occurred from 2015 to 2024. We are working closely with HPD to determine the cause of each accident, to see if these accidents were caused by a poor design or human error, like speeding, inattentive driving, or medical condition. Normally, when it's a poor design, we would have a personal injury lawyer file a lawsuit against the Highways Division. Fortunately, from our understanding, we have not had any lawsuits filed against the Highways Division due to poor design for any of these 72 accidents. I want to thank Chris for this picture of an accident last year, but per HPD report, the driver blacked out, which caused the accident. This news article from Chris shows a moped driver losing control of her moped. Was she speeding, or was she distracted by something which made her lose control of her moped? The bad part about this accident is that the moped driver was not wearing a helmet. This 2009 accident from Chris mentioned a driver blacked out, so it was a human error and not due to a poor design. During a quick field investigation yesterday, motorists must travel through a reverse S-curve alignment, starting before the Paiko Drive intersection and ending at Kuli'ou'ou Road intersection. After talking to our traffic branch, they evaluated the 72 accidents. They did a site review of the area. They checked the current roadway design, including the alignment, signage, pavement markings, and other traffic control devices. They concluded the roadway appears appropriate and in compliance with current standards. Looking at the cause of these 72 accidents, our traffic branch do not think there is a systemic infrastructure deficiency or need any corrective measures at this time. They did mention that effective June 25th, 2025, under Act 222, Senate Bill 30, it is mandated that all moped drivers wear a safety helmet regardless of age. The law also prohibits individuals under 16 years of age from operating a moped on public roadways. These changes aim to improve overall road safety and prevent serious or fatal injuries for moped riders. But of course, we can pass all the laws and implement all the fines for breaking laws, but we still need the HPD or state sheriff's office to enforce these laws. But during my field investigation yesterday, I noticed the Chevron sign just after you pass Kaimoku Place going eastbound on Kalani Highway that warns motorists of the upcoming change in the road alignment. I was wondering if Chris, with the support of the board members, would like the state highways to install similar Chevron signs as motorists approach the Paiko Drive intersection going eastbound on Kalani Highway. If yes, we would like the board to discuss and vote requesting that the state highways consider installing new Chevron signs as you approach Paiko Drive intersection or anywhere else along Kalani Highway within the board's jurisdiction. Once the board approves the request, I will work with our traffic branch to confirm that installing these new Chevron signs will meet current traffic standards And if it does meet current standards, I'll have them prepare plans so I can showcase them to the board members at a future meeting for a vote and approval before we send the plans to our maintenance crew for installation. And finally, another alternative for the board to consider is installing a speed table. If I remember correctly, sometime in 2024, the state highways installed a speed table at the intersection of Kalani Island Highway and Port Lake Road. From my understanding, the new speed table seems to be working to help motorists slow down, since the Hawaii Kai Neighborhood Board Number 1 has not requested the speed table to be removed. If board members vote to approve for the state highways to install a speed table, again, I can work with our traffic branch to do a study to see where is the best location between Pico Drive and Kuli'ou'ou Road to install a speed table, and I'll report back at a future meeting. This concludes my report. I can take any questions at this time.
Casey, that was very good. I mean, thank you for you and your engineers for looking at the structure of the highway and trying to figure out if there was anything that, that was not done correctly or that could be improved. Would it be possible for you to send us the options that you mentioned, maybe with a map? The options were installing the chevron signs, and the other one is installing a speed table. We're not familiar with the speed table in particular. I think I know which one you're speaking about, but it's just the terminology we're not familiar
The
with.
speed table, the hard part is if the board decides that they want the state highways to look into installing a speed table, I would have to work with our traffic branch, and they would have to do a study to see what location would be the most effective location, I guess, to install a speed table. Because we noticed that the curve right before the Pico Drive is where the accidents have been occurring from the news articles from Chris. So we're looking at maybe, at that area where right before the curve, we put a speed table to slow down motors. But again, I would have to work with our traffic branch to confirm where would be the best location. We're just, like as I mentioned, our traffic branch says we don't have to do nothing. They believe most of the problems are human error. But again, when I went to do my field investigation yesterday, I noticed we have chevrons at this other curve alignment. So I'm just wondering if the neighborhood board would want to have the state highways to look into it to see if it's possible. But again, I would have to work with our traffic branch to see if it'll meet standards to justify installing this chevron. Other than that, our traffic branch does not recommend any improvements at this time.
Okay.
I-
We have, there are two questions. The first is from Steve Solom, and the second one is from Chris Kramer. I didn't see Chris before, but go ahead, Steve, and please address your question to Casey Abe.
Yes, as I said earlier, I've lived here so long and seen so many changes, asking a lot, and it's a federal. One of the things that really ruins the highway to me is and they just replaced them, are those steel guardrails. Previous, it's like federal funding standards, but if going forward there might be a more imaginative solution to the same kind of safety that the guardrail, considering like we're a tourist economy and important to keep the beauty of Hawaii so it doesn't look like just a generic urban environment, and to me, that was one of the big changes. Growing up, there were coconut median strip going all the way from, I don't know where it started, maybe West Hine Drive, all the way going out, and then it stopped somewhere at our house, became a 2-lane highway. And, the tourist buses used to stop and take pictures of the tree. It was really nice. And I considering that tourism decades is the #1 industry.
Thank you for the suggestion. Go ahead. Okay, Chris, the mic is yours.
Okay. Yeah, I appreciate Mr. Solom's comments, and yeah, I also like the old pictures of all the coconut trees lining the roadway. It looked beautiful back then. There's definitely some areas like New Valley Shopping Center would be a perfect place to put those back up and have some shade along the highway. But and I also wanted to just add that the reason I brought this up to the board and to the DOT was because not only there's been accident after accident in the last couple years that and we have a couple newborn babies right in that section, and they're basically going along a narrow strip, and they're just it's like a ticking time bomb to have. And we have 2 ancient fish ponds in this stretch, where a lot of community members, school-age children are going to access. And when you walk along the highway there, you can literally feel the wind from the tour buses and the regular buses. I mean, there's such a small margin between the sidewalk and the oncoming traffic. Even when I pull up to park, you have to back in against the flow of traffic, so we have to wait for the light and then reverse against the flow of traffic just to get into the parking. But we can't even open the doors because there's just no room between the highway traffic. And so I think it would be very helpful if the traffic engineers kind of did a site visit with. I'd be happy to meet you folks, and you could kind of see the situation.
I guess the
We
main
have
problem, yeah.
we also have those curves where folks are coming around the curves really quickly, and there's no warning about the curves, so they keep hitting the fire hydrants and taking out people's walls. It happens very frequently, but it's just something that is very fixable. As far as right now, there's no safety measures there, so we can certainly put some safety measures, and it'll be a big improvement.
Yes. As I mentioned in my presentation, initially our traffic branch felt that there were no improvements they could make because they feel it's a lot of human error in speeding. Speeding is the main problem right now. And again, I offered a suggestion, if the board wants to take it up and install a speed table, which the Hawaii Kai Neighborhood Board has one in the area. The speed tables has been going up throughout the islands to help slow down speeding. We are doing, we do have our speed cameras in the pilot mode right now. But that will be a while because we're having a hard time with our judiciary system because they can't handle the overloading of citations during our pilot project. There's so many people speeding.
I mean,
The problem is speeding. Drivers are speeding. We don't know what else we can do if people don't want to slow down. And then we need the police officers to do the enforcement, but they are shorthanded. So it's not the road. We're just trying to explain, we're trying our best to address your concern, but we do know the human factor, the driver has to take some responsibility. I mean, moped riders, they speed along the bike lane. You know that. But they don't want to wear a helmet, so we are forced to help pass a law to require them to wear a helmet. Why? Why? Because we don't want to the state don't want to get sued if you get an accident. Personal injury lawyers do sue the state with the deep pockets.
The area is so narrow that when I pull up, and when there's a biker, if they go around my truck, they're going right into the
roadway,
oncoming traffic, and so there's just no margin for error.
All right, we understand that, and just that when they did the Kalani widening, you know, they had to deal with all the various homeowners, and we had to deal with how much private property we had to take, and at what cost to the taxpayers. We do know that we need another roadway, a secondary roadway, because many of the drivers are bypassing your neighborhood board, bypassing Hawaii Kai to get to Waimanalo. Right, so this roadway is at capacity during rush hour.
It looks to me like there's room in the median. The median is wide, and the shoulder is narrow. So that's
so certain places the median is wide enough. We could do improvements, but we're looking at the whole stretch, because then it will cause congestion where you add another lane at certain parts of Kalani Highway, then they have to merge back in because we don't have enough room to have the fourth lane in both ways.
Casey and Chris, I think this is worth adding to the agenda at a future meeting. And Casey, maybe we can come up with some visuals, like you had some of them that can show what we can do to control the speed and let people know that curves are coming up. We can put that to a vote or a resolution, and then and submit that so that you will have the support for getting the work done.
So Chair, you want me to work with our traffic branch to develop plans where we would potentially install the chevrons around the curve, and also where we would actually have to do a study to determine the location where the speed tables would be most effective. Is that what?
That would be wonderful. Yes.
Yeah, that's what was my question to the board. If board members vote on it and they want us to do that, just let me know.
Okay.
I mean, if you want to.
Sounds good.
Question.
Because we
Yes,
are.
question from Tim.
Hi, Casey. This is Tim. Heading east on Kalani Highway, when that section was finished, I couldn't believe, I was going to say, the stupidity or whatever it is with the drains on the left-hand side. I think it's just going past Calvary by the sea. And the number of cars and vehicles that veer out of the left-hand lane heading east because of the drains, and they're sunk so low below the road level. And a number of times over the last several years, I've come across motorists complaining that they've damaged their wheels and tires hitting those recessed drains. I think, and I've actually seen cars and vehicles swerve to the right to avoid that dip, nearly causing accidents. And I really think that's something, first of all, it shouldn't have been allowed, it shouldn't have passed inspection. But secondly, it certainly needs some looking at, please. Thank you.
Where is this again? Could you just...
This is heading east on Kalani Highway.
Eastbound. Okay.
And I think it's on the right-hand side, it's just past Calvary by the Sea.
Mm.
And it's that section where a new divide was put in and it was expanded. And on the left-hand side, heading east, the drains that's included in the highway, I would swear to God that it's at least a foot below the grade of the street. So if you're going there, you've got no room to move in heavy traffic, and it's going full blast at say 35, 40 miles an hour, you hit that bump or dip. And it's not one, it's about 6 or 7. All the drains along there need to be raised to grade level of the highway. Thank you.
All right,
Thank you.
look into that.
Hey, Casey, thank you for helping us out and for joining us tonight. We very much appreciate your help, especially with the workload that you have. May we have one more question? Go ahead, Sherry.
Yes, hi. Great discussion tonight. I think before we vote on anything and before we ask DOT to spend money on studies, we should have this put on next month's agenda and try to inform the community larger to discuss it, because you're talking about money that DOT is having, trouble finding. And
Right.
we're not here to pass judgment. We're here to get it out to the community.
Right. Agree with you. Thank
And
you.
because when you're talking about speed humps, you're talking about communities all over Oahu that have railed against them when they were put in, being Poly Highway, Kailua. They were put in and the people hate them because they create a train track sound, ba-boom, 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 ba-boom. And if you don't like me saying it, imagine how you would like living next to it. So, and then they said it causes vibrations that goes into their home. Yes, it does. And I've seen it on Channel 2 TV on the news. So they interviewed them. So it's on TV. The chevrons sound like a good idea. They did it on Kaukunahua out there in Wailua. That kind of dangerous. It's not a dangerous road. It is dangerous because people speed on it. So they put the chevrons there. Maybe it has helped. But this should be a wider discussion for the community before DOT spends money on it. Thank you.
You're welcome. And that's the plan. All right. So, Casey, thank you again. And we are so happy to see you and have your help.
All right, you're welcome. And again, Chair, just email me your concerns and stuff, and I'll address it.
Will do.
I'll email the copy of my PowerPoint presentation.
All right, Casey. We'll now go to our presentations, and I thank our presenters very much for your patience. First, may I introduce Kendra Oshiro. She is from the Kupuna Care Program and would like to share with the community what the program has available for those who cannot help themselves.
Sure. Thank you. Well, thank you for the personal invitation for me to be here. I appreciate it. Yeah, my name is Kendra Oshiro. I'm representing the City and County of Honolulu Elderly Affairs Division. What I like to call us is a resource center, maybe not location-wise, but what we operate is a kupuna helpline. So I'm one of the boots on the ground case managers. I'm someone who gets to go out on the road all over the island to meet with these kupuna. So I have the privilege of doing that. And so we operate a kupuna helpline, 808-768-7700, and I can repeat that again as well. But essentially, that's probably the main way that people get connected with us. We get cold calls from anybody in the community. Anybody can call. You don't necessarily have to be kupuna, which for our division would be 60 years old and above is who we serve. So anybody in the community can give us a call. The case managers who operate the phone line They make themselves knowledgeable of what there is out there in the community, the organizations, the support, volunteer programs, senior centers, anything that you could possibly think of, so that when so that when the community calls in, we can be able to point them to the right direction or educate them on what options may be available to them that they may never heard of. So we're kind of like the first contact, or the place where I don't know where to start. We're kind of that first call. What we also offer is through our Kapuna Care program, like Clarissa had said, is so we receive funding, state, federal, county funds. And what that enables us to do is to be able to partner and contract with organizations in the community to provide supportive supplemental services. And our aim with that is to be able to aid people in being able to age in place. And so when we provide services, it not only helps the kupuna, but it also may help in turn their family, their caregivers, anybody that is a part of caring for this person. And so some of the services, since for lack of time, I'd say the main services that people seek us out for might be home delivered meals, which is commonly known as Meals on Wheels, transportation services, which is separate from other transportation services like the handy van or the city bus. We also may offer in-home services like personal care or bathing in the home, like household cleaning in the home, or attendant care services in the home. And again, it's supplementary, and it's again to be able to aid them so that they can stay remaining where they want to live out their life, which is in their home, in the safety and the comfort of the place that they have lived, so they don't have to be displaced as much as possible. And so, yeah, like I said, the main way to get in contact with us would be our Kupuna helpline. We listen and we hear about each person's situation. It helps us to be able to understand best what they're going through and how we might be able to counsel them as to, what their options are and where we might be able to point them to, whether if it's pointing them out into the community organizations, or whether if it's linking them with us so that we might be able to provide a service with a community agency that we partner with. And that entails going through like a phone screening so that we can get to know your situation better and see if you might be a good candidate for our program. We do have to go through a formal assessment, and eligibility wise, like I said, 60 years and above, residing in Hawaii, U.S. citizen, or qualified alien.
Qualified alien.
Means legal.
Legal. And then to get more deeper into the eligibility, what we really look at is level of care. So how independent somebody is versus how much need they may have, or how much they might struggle with their daily activities, whether it be just walking or getting dressed or changing, using the toilet or bathing. How do they shop? How do they prepare their meals for themselves? How do they maintain their home? So we really look at that to help us to determine if they might qualify for our program. And we aim to prioritize and to target those with the highest socioeconomic needs. So those who are maybe facing financial hardship, may have low income, people who live in rural areas, who may have limited proficiency in English. We aim to serve those with the greatest need, although we want to be able to serve as much people as we possibly can. Yeah.
Thank you very much. Where does the funding come from for the program?
Like I said, it's widespread. So state, federal, county funds, which drives our eligibility requirements. So depending on what service you might be interested in, there might be a different eligibility requirement because it falls under a certain funding bracket.
Okay. Sherry has a question for you. Go
Yes.
ahead, Sherry.
Actually, it's Stephanie that has the question, and Clarissa, you already asked where's the money coming from, so thank you.
But
Is there any idea of a rate if we were asking for a 24-hour care for an 80-year-old, not very ambulatory person?
Yeah, rate as in how much it would cost.
Yes, right, yeah. Yes.
So I guess maybe a two-part. So if I'm talking about through our division and through our program, so again, our services that we offer are supplementary. So we wouldn't be able to provide like a 24-hour care or full care. It's meant to supplement to what it is that they may already have. We wouldn't be able to provide everything. We wish we could. As far as outside of us, 24-hour care, I guess it would depend on what they might be looking at or what their preference would be, whether if they want to stay in the home, 24/7 hour care to pay for somebody to come or for caregivers to come in, or if it was 24-hour care in a care facility. It would just depend on where you would be looking at as well. Different agencies, different placements.
Your
Yeah.
website,
Hello?
your website said 24-hour care, so that's why I asked for the max. But so your supplementary rates for somebody that has other care options also, is that correct?
Oh, sorry. Actually, I'll clarify on that. Thank you for that. So through our program, because we receive the funding, we contract with providers, and so we have our whole assessment. And so the purpose of the assessment is to see if they might qualify. And what I mean by qualify is like if you do qualify and you reach that level of care and you do have an existing need, then we would use the funding that we have to provide you with the service at no cost to you, because we have the funding and because we have this program. Does that make sense?
A little bit, very, very confusing.
No, but thank you so much for
Yes,
doing what you do.
Yes, it's wonderful. Thank you.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, so everyone is, requested to please to give you a call and then they can discuss their individual circumstances
Yes,
more with
absolutely.
you because everyone's circumstances are different.
Correct.
Yeah. Oh, I know it takes time to try and figure out what someone's eligibility is. But we thank you very much for hanging in there tonight and telling us, what you can do for people and how to contact you. A question from Janine before
Sure.
you leave. Go ahead, Janine.
Hi, do you provide Meals on Wheels?
Yes, we do. Yeah. So that is one of the services that we offer. We partner with, I want to say, at least 4 agencies, local agencies on the island. We partner with one that's outside of Hawaii. And so, yes, the short answer is yes. A lot of the providers will even direct them to call us first to see if they might be able to qualify through our program so that they can get the meal subsidized. Yes.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thanks again for all you do, Kendra.
Of course. Thank you, guys. Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
Yes, go ahead.
As I've been walking the community, I actually had one of our community members tell me that there are people knocking on doors like politicians, but asking to buy kupuna housing out on with cash.
Oh.
Like they've told me, hey, this guy came to my door. He offered to buy my house for $1 million. And I was like, well, then where would I move? And they're like, well, you can go to the Ivy or to the Kahala housing, and I'll take care of all the closing costs and everything. So just so the community knows, there are people predatory shopping cash buyouts for our kupuna.
Scary.
Are they developers or just investors?
Yikes. Kendra, thank you.
Yes.
We are getting short on time. I would like to give our last speaker, who's last but not least, Craig, come on up. And Craig is the
Sure.
Craig Gorsuch is the program manager for the Kuli'ou'ou Mountains Watershed Partnership, and he is going to tell you all about a proposed ungulate fence in Pia Valley, or to keep the ungulates on one side.
Aloha kako.
Aloha.
Wishing the chair and board members and community a bright 2026. As already said, my name is Craig Gorsuch. I'm a manager with the Kuli'ou'ou Mountain Watershed Partnership. And the mission of KMWP is to protect and restore the Kuli'ou'ou Forest watershed that captures valuable rainwater and replenishes the water aquifers that we depend on over time, and also supports a diverse ecosystem. I am here to present a proposed project to install a hooved animals exclusion fence in Upper Pia Valley in the Kuli'ou'ou-Kalani Iki Natural Area Reserve and State Forest Reserve that is currently controlled by the Department of Land and Natural Resources, Department of Forest and Wildlife. So it's DLNR DOFA. And I want to start out by emphasizing that the rain follows the forest. Our Malka forests are amazing at capturing rainwater and supporting the ecosystem, and then allowing it to percolate into our water aquifers. It's an essential first step for watershed protection, is to prevent hooved animals from trampling and devouring vegetation. This includes pigs and sheep and deer and goats, or even cattle, because they create bare ground and openings for alien plants, and alien plants consume more water and increase runoff overall. So I feel that our work is very important to preserve that watershed. And part of it is promoting installing protective fences where needed, where there is native Hawaiian ecosystem, and removing hooved animals from inside those enclosures. This is proven to be the most effective, most cost-effective and long-term method to stop damage to the forest from hooved animals. And without fences, animal populations can quickly rebound. For example, a single feral pig can produce an average of 12 to 16 piglets per year. And pigs in particular have a powerful snout to dig, to forage, to turn over the soil of food, looking for roots and tubers and insects, sometimes with catastrophic impact on native vegetation. For example, a primary route of entry for the fungus that causes rapid ohia death is now known to be through exposed roots. And pig rooting severely damages and exposes sensitive ohia lehua roots to the rod fungus. And we have really good examples where ohia forests with a pig fence that are protected from pigs show dramatic differences in the presence of rod on adjacent land where there is no fence, keeping pigs away from those forests. So at the same time, hunting and public access on DOFA lands is very important. Hunters are a valuable partner in watershed conservation by helping to control game animals in forest and watershed areas throughout the state. Currently, DOFA provides over 800,000 acres of unfenced hunting areas. Public hunting areas are a priority action in the initial stages of hooved animal removal, working with hunters to remove them from inside a newly constructed fence. And at this particular proposed site, there will be up to 7 step-over gates that will allow continued public access, and also access to a public hunting area portion, and also hiking and recreational portions as well. So fence areas will enhance also traditional cultural practices like protecting native and cultural resources from damage so they can be used for practices within the community and continue access. I also want to mention, sometimes I get questions about hunter safety. And just to state briefly that to hunt in Honolulu public areas, you're required to possess a valid Hawaii hunting license that includes hunter education and a hunter education card. And there's a license cost as well for residents and non-residents. And anyone with a firearm must be registered with the Honolulu Police Department as well. Just FYI. Now, this particular project is called the Pia Fence Project, and it's the project is supported by funds from both DOFA, DLNR DOFA, and NOAA, National Oceanic Atmospheric Administration, in collaboration with Malama Mauna Lua, Kuli'ou'ou Watershed Foundation, and the Kuli'ou'ou Mountains Watershed Partnership. So we're all working together to channel these funds into very productive enclosure. The proposed fence is described as 21,000 feet in length and will enclose 522 acres of land. And this is higher elevation in the Kuli'ou'ou above this valley. The predominant native species are A'ali'i, Alahe'e, Ule, Ohia, Llama, Iliahi, Akoko, Willy Willy, Owl. And as I already mentioned, the contractor is planning to install up to 7 pedestrian step-over gates at the 7 trail crossings. Some of them are state trails, others are not. But there are a total of 7. And they're also, this includes 5 across the south side and 2 at the summit, on both sides of the summit, on the east side and the west side. And the contractor will be responsible for building the fence in such a way that it does not impede hiker access across those trails. The endangered and vulnerable species will also be protected in the project area, and this includes the kahuli, the Oahu tree snails, the Hawaiian hoary bat, Opaiapea, Hawaiian forest birds, including the Oahu elapaio and amakihi, listed insects and listed plants as well, like haha, lolu, and ohe are also up in this area that would be protected by the fence. So I'm happy to provide more information, and I appreciate your time and attention. Please feel free to contact me for more information. I'd like to give my email address and my phone number. My name is Craig Gorsuch. My email address is koolaupartnership@gmail.com. That's our community outreach email address. So it's koolaupartnership@gmail.com. And you can reach me by my work cell at 808-420-8072. That's 420-8072. And my name is Craig Gorsuch. I'm happy to answer questions and provide as much information as possible. Thank you.
I have a question.
Hello.
Thank you, Craig.
I have a
Do you have something that is resolution ready for organizations like ours, community organizations, where you list the background of, you know, how this came about and the damage that's taking place, and then what the scope of the project is, and also who you would like the support from the community to go to? That would be very helpful to us.
Yes. And I'd like to be able to pull that together and email it to you,
That would be great.
Clarissa. And could you, just to rehash, I didn't take notes while you're speaking, but your list, the background information,
So
the scope, the
and
project description, and the impact on the,
yeah, and who the information, you know, the request for support, who that should go to, you know, who are
Okay.
the governing bodies that can make this happen.
Thank you. The landowners, the land controllers include DOFA up there. It's adjacent to Kamehameha schools, primarily. And the lower value is private land, but that's not included in this fence enclosure.
Okay.
So yeah, I can identify the organizations that have interest, and
Okay.
I'll put
And
that together,
also,
send
when
it
do
to
you
you.
when do you need these community support, public support by? Is there a deadline to get
I
this
think we're
project
looking,
done?
we're trying to do the community outreach and let people know. And as soon as that's completed, we're going to release an invitation for quotation for contractors to place a bid on doing the work. So we're looking at within the next 30 days.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
Okay,
Clarissa, I'm right.
what's the question?
Dore.
Oh, Dore.
Is that okay? Do you have an idea of what the population is of animals?
Up there?
Yeah.
That's
or
really
is it
hard to do. The population of native species or feral pig or
Of the feral pigs or
I do
of the
not,
animals?
but we are working with the Oahu the Pig Hunting Association, but I will try to find out. I do not know.
Okay, because I didn't know about this. This is really good information. About the Volcanoes National Park, they were really struggling, and then they were able to control it within a decade after fencing. So I feel like that's a really great fact. Do you all have the budget already to do this? And so do you actually need approval, or is this more informational?
We do have funding from NOAA that's going through DLNR and also through Malama Mauna Lua. Hopefully it's enough funding to build a fence. We'll find out. We are looking for support from the community, and also NOAA has been doing an environmental assessment. So obviously that's important as well to evaluate what impacts it would have. So yes, we're looking for support and also comment from the community.
And last question, how long is the fencing project going to take?
It will take at least a year to construct.
Are you a government agency?
No, we're a state agency. We're the Kuli'ou'ou Mountain Watershed Partnership is within the UH umbrella on the Pacific Cooperative Studies Unit. So we're more like a state entity within the UH system. Yeah, I didn't mention that history. Yeah, that relationship.
Right.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Yes.
Mahalo.
Happy to help. So we've come to closing announcements. We're a little over time, and thank you for your patience, everyone. Our next meeting will be March 4th, same place. And please let us know what we should add to our agenda. Let Cowie know as well as Zoidel. And we will see you on March 4th. Thank you very much to everyone for joining us tonight. So, this meeting is now adjourned.